they do with all that stuff. Oh, nice Corvette. Well, I just have my plans for the day completely derailed. I was going to, work on some video stuff, practice my bass for a bit, do all the productive artist stuff that I keep telling myself that I'm gonna do. When I get an email from the people who run my storage locker saying that, hey, guess what? You're paid up until Friday next week. And I've been meaning to get rid of some stuff in my storage locker and downsize to a smaller one until I can figure out what to do with the rest of my stuff. So now I'm just like, okay, I guess I need to move this stuff sooner than later. So all the plans that I did have are being put on the back burner so I can go through all this crap. And, I'm hoping this will save me some money. Maybe not a whole ton of money. Hey. I don't know how long this is going to take. I do have until next weekend to get everything moved out, so I'm, not on a tight crunch to get everything done, but I figured I might as well at least try and get some small stuff dealt with here, and then figure out where to go from there. And that pile of bricks with the pile of dirt behind it used to be this place called the Rebels Rock. Used to do open mics at that place before COVID ended up shutting everything down. And unfortunately, the Rebels Rock was one of the casualties. Well, it's a shame. I really enjoyed going to that place, and now it's no longer with us. It was good knowing you while you were here, Rebels Rock. Door go clang. Door go clang. Welcome. Oh, never mind. Unlocking it first helps. Welcome to the Hall of Nonsense. There's actually someone else up here. I didn't realize that. A bunch of kitchen stuff. I should actually take that home. Oh, there's a cockroach in that mug. Ew. Damn it. Well, so much for that. At least we have some more cooking utensils. Maple Leafs flag? Oh no. Toronto Rock flag. Oh, they actually have a really good lacrosse team. At least up until this season, where they've hardly won anything. My old DVD ROM drive. I used to actually have a Asus laptop. I haven't seen it since. This is actually, if I remember right, a friend of mine back in Peterborough lent me all of these DVDs, and if I remember right, one of the Stephen King DVDs is still in that drive. I think I'm gonna take that home, hook it up to my MacBook, and see if I can actually get that thing to work. I should give my friend all of his DVDs back, because he lent me those years ago and still hasn't seen them again. Those are my all-season tires. The wondrous things you can find at garage sales sometimes. King Crimson in the Wake of Poseidon. That is, oh my god, the record's falling out. Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of records in there. Like, I haven't got enough stuff at home that I don't know what to do with, but I should probably take a lot of that home with me. Space heater that I haven't had to use this year because the heat in my house is actually really good. This is an old camera that I believe used to belong to my grandfather. Oh, it is packed in there tight. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Maybe I'll look at that another day. Got a whole bunch of old toys. This is one of them. I played with this tractor a lot when I was a kid. John Deere. I grew up on a farm. Clearly, we were a John Deere family. I had a couple of David Browns and a couple of Kubotas. But, yeah, we were largely a John Deere family. A lot of modern John Deere sucks now, but this was a toy based on one of their tractors from back in the day when they actually built quality tractors. This, underneath, is my old computer tower from college. I should clean it out and plug it in, because I still actually have a working copy of Photoshop on that computer. This, too, is my computer monitor from college. Really good quality thing, and then it died on me a few years ago. I think one of the capacitors finally blew on it, and now it just refuses to do anything. I promised myself I would fix it, and just never have. This TV, it's a nice CRT, heavy as hell. This actually used to belong to my brother. Symbols around. So, Sabian B8 ride. Not a pro drummer. Give me a couple of minutes, I could keep a decent beat. Just don't expect me to do any wild fills or play any blast beats or anything. Can't remember how does this thing sound. I get for trying to use my chin as a tripod. A couple of momentous moments in Canadian baseball history. Toronto Blue Jays winning back-to-back World Series before continuing to suck for 3 decades. The infamous Roberto Alomar, awesome ball player, fiery temper, world-class spitter. I was a bit of a hockey fan when I was a kid. That poster is incredibly out of date now. I do like cars. I don't go all out fanatical about them like a lot of people. Plymouth Spider. Can't remember if that car even left the prototype stage. Oh, and of course, Prowler. Amazingly designed car with a piece of garbage engine in it. What's in here? Oh, moldy papers. Yeah, that's just lovely. Look at all that fungus. I'm sure that stuff might have been useful at some point. I don't even remember what's in here. It's just got a bunch of speakers in the back. Don't know what I'm going to do with any of those. But yeah, there's 3 sets of speakers back there. And they're all split wire, so I don't really have a lot of ways to connect them. This is actually the first acoustic guitar I ever bought with my own money. It's a Oscar Schmidt by Washburn. You know, Oscar Schmidt actually makes some really decent instruments for the price. Like, this was $200, brand new. It's incredibly out of tune, but it's actually got surprisingly good tone out of it. And then I snapped the truss rod on it, so now it's just got this permanent bow. I was using it as like a slide guitar thing for a while, and then it's just kind of sat up here collecting dust. If I remember right, this backpack is filled with like porcelain dishes, so I want to be really careful with that. I don't even know what some of this stuff is. Oh, more porcelain. Okay, gotta be really gentle with that too. So much. Oh, this set of speakers. My friend Luke actually gave me those speakers. Gotta shed some light on the situation. Come on, phone, cooperate with me for once. Oh my god. It's being used by another app? What? There we go. The speakers. One of the speakers keeps cutting out and is not wired very well, so I don't know if I'll fix that or not. That was my original plan, but we'll see what happens. All kinds of random stuff. What the hell is this orange thing? Oh, a set of brake pads that I never ended up using. Oh, here's something interesting. I believe it was signed by one of the engineers and one of the test pilots. That's a piece of Canadian history right there. Here's one of the main things I want to get rid of. I've got no place for this thing right now. Something like that could actually be kind of useful, but I've got no room for it. Same with this big filing cabinet over here. Can't do anything with it, so I might as well just get rid of it. This thing on the other hand, you know, some of these shirts are really, the Peterborough Pete's. I forget, there was a story behind this kid. He was like giving a lecture to the team or something, and then they ended up turning him into a shirt. Washcloths, bandana, I wasn't looking for those either. This is another thing, is there's this place in Toronto that they call the Black Market. It's not the actual Black Market, it's just a name, and they just make these custom shirts, like the Abbey Road Ministry of Silly Walks shirt. I don't think that shirt fits me anymore, and I've also ripped the hell out of one of the armpits, if I remember right. Oh yeah, there it is, right there. Big old giant rip. Get a nice lovely look at my armpit hair. This is the one I was looking for. A little bit faded with how much I've worn it and washed it over the years, but yeah, Luke and I saw them in Dream Theater at the Molson Amphitheater. I forget what they call it now, but it's this big outdoor stage at Ontario Place in Toronto. And that was an amazing show. Didn't really know much about Maiden until then, and like that concert turned me into a fan. Now I have to put all this crap away. So, like I said, I wanted to move things to a smaller unit, so they found me one, but guess what? That's just perfect, isn't it? I mean, I guess beggars can't be choosers, but I'll find a way to make this work. I know some stuff I could actually hide in there. Yeah, these stinky things are really special to me. Behringer Ultra Bass BX 4500H and the BB 4x10 cab with Behringer speakers. I know Behringer has a really bad reputation, be it their work practices, their CEO. I know their reputation sucks, and there's good reason for that. But I've been using these amps for the better part of 20 years. These two specifically, and I've never had a problem with them. They've been absolutely amazing. They sound absolutely amazing. And I'm looking to sell them. Got no reason to have an amp like this anymore. At this point, I've got no use for them, so I might as well give them to someone who can use them. This thing on the top, it's an old Yorkville Bassmaster. It's a little trick that I found out about is you can actually link up the inputs like this. It drastically starts to affect the tone, or at least gives it a different flavor. This amp is stinking powerful. Like, the range on these things literally goes from below 0 to above 10. It goes to 11, mate. I barely had that volume around the 0 mark on both of these volume knobs, and you could rattle the walls. Like, seriously, if you crank this thing up, you could fill a stadium with just this one amp. That's how powerful it is. The only issue, just to show you how old it is, it's got no grounding plug. If you want to ground anything, you've got to go to this switch back here, and it doesn't seem to matter whether it's down or up. It will shock you. I'm sure there must be a fault in the switch somewhere that's making it not work properly. But yeah, I have been zapped by this amp multiple times, and it's not fun. If this amp was grounded properly, I would probably use it all the time. But as it stands, it's just a nice little collector piece. This used to belong to my uncle back in the 60s, so this amp has seen a lot of use over the years. I will never sell it. Hey, went up for a Halloween party. A friend of mine got these a couple of years ago to throw a big Halloween celebration for people, and I still have them. This tree's held up pretty nice. The base is held up pretty nice. Pumpkin's a little bit rough for now. But, yeah. So, she ended up passing away last year, so I guess I've held on to these a little bit out of nostalgia. I don't know. I almost don't want to get rid of them just for her memory, but I'm also never going to use these again, so I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Like, that guy's too far gone. Hey, sorry there, bub. I think your best days are behind you, eh? And this is actually my brother's old guitar. A little J. Tercer copy of a Gibson SG. It's an okay guitar for what it is. I don't know what they did with the pickups, but they always sounded really weird. Could never seem to get any good distortion out of them or anything. But I still played it a lot of early recordings where I was trying to record guitar. This is what you would have heard on it. My brother never played it too much. He was more into his DJ stuff and turntables and samplers and that kind of thing. That was more his forte. And I kind of grabbed this guitar off of him. Unfortunately, there was one very humid day many years ago. You can't really see it, but the neck on this thing is kind of making this weird corkscrew to the right. None of the chords work properly anymore. You try and play a D on this thing and you just get a lot of muted strings. So unfortunately this guitar is junk. Again, this is my brother's, so I don't want to just throw it away. It costs too much to get it fixed. I don't know, maybe someone out there would want to do a full resto on this, but I'm not the person to do it. I did say, because that one is my brother's guitar, that I didn't really want to do anything to it or just throw it away or anything like that. This guitar, on the other hand, I could give a toss about. Oh, jeez. I knew that was going to be rough, but I wasn't expecting it to go full Gibson on me. Holy crap. Well, I mean, that guitar was already beyond hope, but it's definitely beyond hope now. Oh my god, I'm a monster. These speakers, I swear to God, these speakers have been passed around since high school. I keep telling myself, oh, I'm gonna put them in a car. I'll put them in a car eventually. These things have never been wired up once. So here they are in my storage locker. You know what? I think these are gonna go to Value Village. And poor Oscar Schmidt is just sitting there in pain. God, what have I done to you, sweet prince? Yeah, and I forgot about this life jacket. My friend of mine I was talking about earlier with the Halloween balloons. We went up to a conservation area a couple of years ago. We decided to go out canoeing for a little bit, and of course, the conservation area gave us life jackets. Well, I totally forgot I was wearing this and ended up driving out of the conservation area with this thing still on me. And no one said a word. I don't think it was till we got back to Hamilton that I realized I was even still wearing the thing. Rest in peace, Care Bear. We did have some good memories together. More music books that I never used. Speaking of which, I had a bunch of music texts from college that I gave to a friend of mine. He still hasn't given them back to me, so I don't know if I'll ever get them back. I kind of want them back, though, because they're, like, honestly, the definitive music textbooks. These things, on the other hand, you know, they'll definitely teach you things if you've got the patience and the discipline. Another music book, a notepad with stuff on it. Oh, an address that I probably shouldn't show to the world. Okay. Brace that I never use. Or papers that I don't know what the hell they're even of. Is any of this stuff useful? It's like birthday cards and stuff. Nope. I don't know if any of this might be pictures or something. I don't know what's in there. A random table leg for a table I no longer have. I don't know what any of this stuff is. Let's look at posters. Oh! Remind I'm trying to destroy them. Speaking of posters, what do we have in here? I think I see a Pennywise poster. I think one of these is a Korn poster. I don't know. That's about all I can see right now, and I don't feel like digging everything out. I used to have posters for a lot of different bands, like System of a Down, Mudvayne, Korn. I think I had a Slipknot poster at some point. I could be wrong about that. Oh, look. Hey, look, it's like a banner for the Toronto Make Me Laughs, eh? Yeah. It's definitely seen better days. Oh, I think I'm gonna put it in the garbage bag. Sorry, pumpkin balloon, I just lost the way the heater already too far gone. I now present to you the ultimate Canadian invention. It's a glove and a windshield scraper to get all the frost off your car and still keep your hand warm while you're doing it. Hold on a second. See, you like wear it like this, eh? And then you could go scrape, scrape, scrape. And you could go the other way too. Go scrape, scrape, scrape. And you turn it this way and go scrape, scrape, scrape. Why the hell am I living in this country, eh? Scrape, scrape, scrape. That wouldn't surprise me if there was a tag on here that just said made in Newfoundland. So this is a flashback to another point in my life. That thing down there, that's a welding helmet. This is a bunch of my old stuff from when I was actually trying to work in welding. For some reason, I threw the other half of my soldering kit in there. I've got the soldering iron at home, but the rest of it, it's in this pouch. And I don't think I've used that soldering iron once. It's there just in case I need it. Whatever. I'm at least takering was words is hard. I'm gonna take the soldering kit home with me. Donk. Yeah, these two bags right here are actually kind of neat. They're all full of old shirts that I want to hold on to, or just things that were too funny to get rid of. I've got a bunch of old Insane Clown Posse shirts in there, a bunch of different band t-shirts, tour t-shirts. I'm pretty sure my 9 Inch Nails with Teeth tour shirt is in one of these bags. I still can't find my Ginger shirt though. I had one from the Wallflowers tour. My brother and I saw them at the Phoenix in Toronto. I bought 2 t-shirts. I still have the one with all the tour dates on it, and I had another one for Dead Hands Feel No Pain, and I still can't find that bloody shirt. I don't know what I did with it, but I don't know. If I come across it, my plan was to do something with these shirts rather than wear them until I wear them out, but still don't know what that plan's gonna be, so I'll get there when I get there, I guess. Found another basket full of so many clothes. I had no idea I had so many thermal work socks, and they're all just hiding in this basket. Bunch of record sleeves for records that I don't have. This is nothing but cardboard, no vinyl. And 2-foot length patch cable. I'll take that. Chevy truck. Lifelike racing. Lifelike racing. Racing course. Oh, look at it. This thing was actually a lot of fun, but it almost never got set up because no one ever liked setting it up and no one liked taking it apart either. If we had a dedicated spot for setting up slot car tracks and model train sets and that kind of thing, it would have been one thing, but no, we just had tiny farmhouse. Also to lifelike racing. Something I just want to mention. Guys, this is normally the starting line. Why would you put the cross track right at the start? So you know what happens every time you try and start a race? They just nose up against each other and don't go any further. So whenever we set this up, we always put this behind here, and then we set the arrow up front, and then you end up saving that for the big finale instead of just nosing into each other right at the start, going like 5 scale miles an hour. It was fun though. It was always fun. It might actually still work, but again, I don't have anywhere to set it up nowadays either, so. And then this poor old thrashed Tonka truck, nicely rusted and corroded, but I remember using this thing a lot as a kid. I actually remember being small enough that I'd put my knee in the bucket and then ride around on the thing like it was my little red wagon or something. It was a fun truck. Still works rather well. It's just very... You hear that? That's kind of crunchy. I don't know what that is, but I think it's some of the paint in there. It's kind of crunched up against the metal frame, but we'll make everything out of plastic now so it doesn't corrode. Yeah, it's breaking in like 6 months because you can't do anything with it. This thing is probably almost 50 years old now. And yeah, it's rusty, but you could still technically use this thing. Just make sure you get your tetanus shot first. So, I came across this in this box of random junk. I'm pretty sure it's all garbage. And I realized, wait a minute, that's supposed to go with this. This is my old digital SLR camera from college. And, you know, it has a pretty good, like, I took some amazing photos with this thing. It's been years since I've really been into doing photography, but I'll just have to see if, hopefully the charger still works. Oh, that is a dangerous way to hold a camera. But if you open up this thing back here, I do still have the battery. You know, I was hoping that would spring out nice and easy, but no, it's like, well, you let me sit around this long, you're gonna have to work for it. So, yeah, the battery is still there. Oh, of course you can't read on this phone because I'm filming on a Samsung. Canon Li-ion battery pack. I tried charging this later to see if there's any chance of it still working. Somehow I doubt it. I don't know if I'd be able to get a replacement for that or not, but I mean, like, this camera is like 20 years old now, so I'm not sure how well it's gonna work. Made in Japan. It's cool, they didn't outsource it to China to save a buck. They wanted to make something on their own terms, on their own turf. I can respect that. Tools. Say there, bud, you looking for a set of vintage Ludwigs there, eh? They got all the incredible features like the weird spike legs, and they come out like that, eh? And it's like in mint condition, like these little things are just for show here, eh? But they're nice and springy and stuff. And like, oh, that's no big deal right there, eh? You could just buff that out with a little sandpaper, eh? It's just fine. And we got like this vintage snare up here that sounds like absolutely wicked and stuff. Like, oh, wait a minute. I need the snares to make the snare, or else it doesn't snare. Oh, that's like nice, eh? And like they got all the toms here, and like I swear these ones down here, they're just for show, eh? Like I've never seen bottom heads on any of these toms, eh? It's got like a vintage foot pedal there too, eh? Like I don't know who made this or where it came from, but like that looks pretty dang old, eh? Yeah, and it's one of those things that belonged to my uncle, like back in the 60s, eh? It's even got this. It's even got this hoser of a thing that you put the toms on, eh? But it's all tangled up in all kinds of stuff. I think this one's for the snare drum, eh? And that might be the hi-hats. I'm pretty sure that's the hi-hats. And like, you know, this is all like Westbury. That's like vintage hardware, right, eh? Or like Old Pearls, Mapex is like, oh goodness, eh? And then of course we got, the B8 Sabians over here. There's like 2 crashes, a ride, and a thrash splash, and like, that's all period, right, eh? And then like, you got the hi-hats over here, eh? And like, I can't find a name on any of these things, so like, I don't know where they came from, but they got like a nice green coppery patina, and this one's got a nice faded K on top of it. Like, I don't know where these came from or what they are, but like, I don't know, they might be vintage Zildjians, eh? Is it Zildjian or Siljan? They're like old cymbals, eh? I don't know, like, I can make noises on the drums, but I don't really play drums, eh? So, like, I just want these to go to a good home, eh? And, like, I don't know if my uncle wants them back. He's been living in Germany for, like, 45 years now, eh? I don't think he's coming back to these, eh? So, like, I want them to go to a good place, eh? I kind of forgot at one time that I actually was in Scouts. I don't know what half of these badges mean. Why is there so much sports-related stuff on here? I was a big, chunky, fat kid when I was in Scouts. I was definitely not athletic. Happy, sad, happy, sad, happy, sad. No, seriously though, all of the non-Ludwig drum hardware actually belonged to the drummer from this band I was in just before COVID hit. I might have bought 1 or 2 of these stands, I don't remember which ones, but I honestly don't care. I like drums, but they're not really what I'm good at. I just want to give a shout out to the drummer, man. Like, do you want your hardware back? Like, this stool isn't even mine. He lent me that drum throne. Like, dude, seriously, do you want your stuff back? I don't know if I'm going to use it anytime soon. Like, do you want it back? By all means, take it. I don't want to spend all day out here. So, I'm going to go back and get some work done on some other stuff and probably wrap this up tomorrow. Want door go clang? Make door go clang! Thank you! I've heard of pay toilets, but that's just ridiculous. So, as the mess continues, I have no idea what I'm going to do with all those speakers. It's a little sneak peek to never relate to anything in this at all. It's very unrelatable. That's what made it so funny. Diogger was one of my brother-in-law's co-workers, I think. This is his project, and it's pretty good. Kind of reminds me of like old 80s era Skinny Puppy. I'm so mad so many of these got water damaged really bad. I'm so mad about that. The Soul Pursuit, they're a band from Toronto, never really took off, and unfortunately they pulled all of their stuff off of YouTube and social media, so my guess is the band is no longer doing stuff. Come on, you removed everything? Velcoro was such an amazing song, now I can't even listen to that on Spotify anymore. Jim Penn, I think this is actually like a speaker CD for some multi-level marketing thing I got roped into years ago. I don't remember. The Beavis and Butthead experience. Nothing beats the 80s rock version of I Got You Babe by Cher with Beavis and Butthead. I ain't one for poetry. I ain't one for prose. Ain't one for the scent of a springtime rose. But there is one fact I do know. Sure get a kick out of that Beavis and Butthead show. Do. Unveil your treasures. Give me the... Oh, that's a kick where the sun don't shine. Junkie XL. In the days before Tom Holkenborg did nothing but movie soundtracks. Really good movie soundtracks, but he was a really awesome DJ. Made some really cool electronic music back in the 90s and early 2000s, and then he's just been doing stuff for Hollywood ever since, which is kind of a shame, but hey, if it pays the bills. The grandson of Hank Williams, bass player for Superjoint Ritual. You have Hank Williams III. 10 Feet Down is actually an awesome song. The rest of these songs, you take it or leave it. Pretty sure every Canadian had a copy of at least one of these compilations. Smashing Pumpkins, Ava Adore, a really, really weird remix of Dragula. This was actually my introduction to garbage, was hearing Push It on this CD. Big Wreck, one of the greatest Canadian bands to come out of the 90s. Absolutely love Big Wreck. Clearly this CD has been heavily loved over the years, even despite its ridiculousness. My brother got the other cover, I got this cover. Good old silly Detroit nonsense in many, many layers of clown paint. There you go. Get back in the case, you son of a bitch. You've clearly seen better days, but yeah, let's... Resident Evil soundtrack. It's had some actually really good songs on it. That radio edit of My Plague, which you can't even really call a radio edit because it still swears in that song. Yeah, this was the video version of My Plague, which was produced by Terry Date. He also produced the video version of Wait and Bleed. I don't know why, but those Terry Date versions sucked all of the soul out of the music whenever he produced a Slipknot song. I don't get it. He was the producer for the Deftones. How can you make the Deftones sound amazing and yet make Slipknot sound like garbage? Electronic remix of Dig by Mudvayne. I really like that version. I don't know why. Here's the one I was originally aiming for. The first album Primus made since Antipop, which came out in '99, I think. This one, come on Samsung, you were actually focusing a minute ago. Why can't you focus now? Down there it says 2011, Prawn Song Records. Again, this has clearly seen better days, but where's the disc? Where's the disc? Damn it. I mean, it's not the best Primus album in the world, but it's about the most I would expect after 12 years of silence. You'd rather handpin and crawl for $1 and travel around the world. Something like that. I actually found my copy of Toxicity. This was a great album. I still like the self-titled album just a tiny smidge more than this one. I still really like this album though. Honestly, I think the only problem that I have with this album is that I listened to it way too much back in the day. I've got a feeling this did have a bonus DVD. Open. Yeah, that's why I thought the bonus DVD is gone. What else do we have in here? Hidden Treasures. Command & Conquer Red Alert. Pretty fun game. I was never very good at it, but it was a pretty fun game. Oh, my absolutely thrashed copy of Blackout the Sun by Seven Dust. Look at how badly water damaged that is. That is just awful. But amazing album. One of my favorites by Seven Dust. Actually, Seven Dust? Huh. What are the chances? Living Color. Do I not have to live? But, yeah. This album was my introduction to Living Color. I think they're a very underappreciated band. I actually got this because I was working as a cab driver for a while. This was quite a few years ago. I didn't do it for very long, but I was trying to find one of my CDs because I forgot it in one of the cabs the day before. Never did find my CD. I think it was a Mars Volta album. Had a copy of it, but the cab I went to drive that day had this CD already in the CD player, and the case was in the little compartment underneath it. So I decided, you know what? you're gonna take my CD, I'm gonna take yours. So now I have a copy of Vivid by Living Color. Proof that every now and again I do listen to something other than heavy metal. More blank CDs, more Behringer. Burnt CD I must have made back in high school. More old school Junkie XL. Some terrible electronic project, which was basically me messing around with my Yamaha DJX keyboard to all the presets and calling it original music. Mashups of like heavier music mixed with electronic. So like, oh yeah, there's another remix of Dig by Mudvayne done by Junkie XL. Can you tell I was a bit of a Junkie XL fan? There's some interesting stuff on here. Fear Factory with David Bowie. David Bowie? I know it was not David Bowie who originally did Cars. I must have gotten that wrong. Einstein, Zwitter. Yeah, you should look up the meaning of the word Zwitter, because I didn't realize what it really meant until many, many years later when I finally decided to look up a translation. Oh, yeah, there's that kind of alternate version of Closer that 9 Inch Nails did. I had decided to cut it into pieces and try and make my own remix of Closer to God. And yeah, if I remember right, it was still a pile of garbage. But, you know, what else can you do? Tallman, a band that was trying to basically be Canada's answer to Tool. My brother had the original copy of this, and I just burnt my own copy. It was pretty good. You know, wasn't too. Oh my god! I actually tried to replicate the font, and it looks kind of. Well, it looks like I did it. If you can ever find this anywhere, give it a listen. It's actually pretty good. Will they ever replace Tool? Hell no. But it's still a pretty good album. Nothing But Reflection. One of my friends from college, his name was JJ. He was actually a member of this band. Yeah, this was their EP that they put out independently. Yeah, it's alright. It's kind of that 90s, early 2000s era pop punk. Yeah, it's some pretty decent music. I was never the biggest into the whole pop punk thing, but you know what? It's pretty good. I wonder if that website still works. Where is it? Nothingbуtreflection.com. I think that's a DVD. Yeah, for some reason, I've got a pirated version of this. Someone just gave it to me. That is definitely not my handwriting. It looks too nice to be my handwriting. So, more blank discs. Oh, it's a rewritable. Wonder if there's anything worth anything on that. Caius album. Everyone calls it Sky Valley because of the sign on the album cover, but when you look on the actual sides of the album, it actually just says Caius. I remember with this, I actually cut it up into the individual tracks because originally they just had it set out in 3 tracks, so you kind of listen to through the whole thing the way you kind of would a record, where every song's just kind of grouped based on the side. I kind of went, yeah, screw that, and I cut this into the individual tracks, so you can actually listen to them one at a time if you wanted. I think that's just about everything in there. Not bad, except for all the water damage and missing CDs. Got more stuff over here. A copy of Self-Titled by Slipknot. The case is absolutely destroyed. I wish this was the original release with Frail Limb Nursery and Purity, but no, this was the re-release with Me Inside, which I never thought was even as close to a good song. Oh, place your hands. And no, this is actually the single for that song. I don't remember why I got this, but it's in my collection. Of course, Mudvayne LD50. Listened to that album a lot when I was younger. Oh, I'm really showing my Canadian colors here. Matthew Good Band, The Audio of Being. And normally, with this album, you would just get the CD, but this version also came with a book called pleasurable headache. It's basically got lyrics to every single song that he'd written and recorded up till that point. Born to Kill, I think that was on... crap, I can't even remember the names of the albums now. I used to have it on CD. Beautiful Midnight. That was it. Yeah, that was the album with Hello Time Bomb on it. I found me a reason to check me tomorrow. Yeah, Audio of Being, great album. Kettle Black. This is actually an album that my brother gave to me, I think, or I might have stolen it off of him, one or the other. But yeah, apparently he's just a one-man band who will impromptu all of his sets with like a loop pedal and a tiny drum kit and all this other stuff. It's a neat concept. I could never get that CD to work right though. It'd get to like track 3 or track 4 and then just skip like crazy. This had diehard of a 9 Inch Nails fan I was back in the day. I still am a big fan, but yeah, I went out of my way to get the singles. And Open Sesame, here we go. I had basically every one of the quote-unquote halos up until Ghosts, I think, or hesitation marks. And then I kind of stopped after a while because I didn't really have a lot of money. And unfortunately, I ended up selling a lot of them. I still have my copy of Sim. That's pretty cool. Goo by Sonic Youth, but I don't have the book. This album was basically my introduction to Sonic Youth. They also had that album in like the mid-2000s that had Incinerate on it. I forget the name of that album, but it was pretty good. Silverchair. My brother and I were big Silverchair fans back in the day. Primus bootleg concert that I found at a record store. That looks like something I would have printed off back in high school. It is really low quality. Really good live performance. Sound quality is pretty good. In medias res. I'm not gonna lie, this definitely isn't my favorite album in the world. I was trying to remember, because that song, Best Kept Secret, is pretty decent. And that's the only song I really remember from this album. It is what it is, I guess. Just randomly bought a single, Points of Authority. There's this By Myself remix, reinterpreted by Marilyn Manson. I think that was my only reason for buying this, is I wanted to hear what that remix was like. Jay Gordon is the lead singer for Orgy. He was the one who did the Points of Authority remix. That was on Reanimation. Hold on a second. What else do we have here? It's my Incubus section. Make Yourself. Morning View. Both really great albums. I didn't like Morning View too much back in the day, but I do really like that album now. Tenacious D. The original Family Values tour. Actually, speaking of Incubus, that was my introduction to Incubus, was hearing them on this CD, being like, man, that New Skin song was actually pretty cool. How come they only have one song on there? It's because Ice Cube was originally on the bill, and they had to take over for Ice Cube mid-tour. This is how ridiculous my 9 Inch Nails collection went. This is the promo single for Hurt, and there was never an official single that got released. See, for promotional use only. That's how far my collecting got to. I was looking up promo singles. That joke's on you. Riddle Box. Honestly, one of my favorite albums by ICP. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's amazing how after all these years of abuse, these cases don't want to stay together very well, and I wonder why. PR Chrome Handbook. I don't know why I ended up buying this, but I got this in college, and guess what? Let's demonetize everything. Jesus Christ. There is something wrong with this man. But if he was completely normal, he wouldn't have gotten all this great stuff. Or movies like Felix the Cat. There we go. Now that's demonetized right there. Jesus. There's more CDs down here. Stained. Deftones? Hell yeah. First Orgy album. Not the Top Gun soundtrack. Samira? I'm not sure why I have some of these. Oh, look at that. Very professional Diogger album. 6 Plays Till Doomsday. I kind of, oh yeah. By the time I really got into 9 Inch Nails, the Closure video series was long out of print. There was a music store that would print off bootlegs. So this is the first tape. I never did end up getting the second tape. I wish I did. Oh, and before I go, would you care for some mold? Just figures basically every book in this box is ruined. Except for... oh, no, it's probably got water damage too. But yeah, I actually got a few copies of the Insane Clown Posse graphic novel. It started as comic books and then they printed the graphic novel, and then just to run perfectly alongside it, Calvin and Hobbes. Okay, I've just about moved everything out of here. This is the one last thing that I really wanted to show. This is another little relic that used to belong to my uncle, Degas fretless bass. These pickups have been demolished for years. My brother and I have sent this in to get fixed multiple times and nothing ever seems to work. So, unfortunately, this thing sits around more than gets played, hence why it's here. So, it's a couple months later. I decided to pull things out of storage just to have a little fun with this next video. I was just curious. Just wanted to have a quick look at this thing before I tried recording with it. The whole thing came down to 2 basic issues. One, the adhesive on the pickup guards themselves had just basically stopped working. And 2, the springs that were supposed to hold the screws for the pickups in place fell out into the cavity here. Those seem to be the only 2 problems. And somehow these were too difficult to fix. I think my brother and I were just dealing with a couple of guitar techs who didn't know what the hell they were doing. And rather than just do any work, they just gave our guitar back and said, you know what, there's nothing you can do. No, there's actually a few things that we can do, and they don't seem to be that difficult. So, what was the real issue again? So, earlier I was doing some work on my windows here, trying to set up my air conditioner over here for the summer. I want to say thank you to my brother for letting me keep this after we moved out of our old place. That was awesome. Thank you. Doing some work to try and make filming and lighting easier in here whenever I decide to shoot like performance videos in here. So I thought, why not take some of this tape that I got and maybe we could put it to use down here. This is a quick and dirty fix. I know professional guitar repair people would probably never do this with simple duct tape. They'd rather, get the proper adhesive like you saw in there before and actually affix things properly, because I'm not expecting this to last for very long. I just want it to last long enough so I can use this bass for a jam, maybe 2. Or maybe 3, see how saucy I feel. As it stands right now, it should do the job. So that's fine by me. So I guess it's not quite as smooth as I thought it was going to be. This little piece here, as you can see, there are little pieces of wood you're supposed to put the screws into, and that kind of helps it keep away from the actual body of the bass. Unfortunately, this one here snapped off. I just went, screw it, I'm just gonna screw right into the body. If this was like a genuine fender, I'd probably find a way to re-glue that piece, but it's just a little dig thing. I'm not really all that concerned. I'm gonna try putting this pickup in now. So far, the duct tape adhesive fix seems to be working just fine. I'm gonna keep going from here, but I might take a breather for a few minutes to cook some pizza. Here we go, shed a little light on the situation, and we've got things in place. Well, we can't really see in there. Yeah, those springs on this pickup were a little bit longer than the bolts themselves, so those springs are very, very compressed. And as per usual, my phone doesn't want to focus. There it goes. Wow, you actually surprised me. Okay, I managed to do what guitar repair people 20 years ago were not able to do for this bass. So I'm feeling kind of proud of myself, even though this repair was incredibly simple and I'm very much doing it in kind of the dodgiest way possible. Red Green would be proud of this repair job, you know. Spare the duct tape, spoil the job. So, after a little bit of hard work and trying not to tear my hair out, I finally got it back together. Just a couple of things. The tape that I was using ended up catching on the pick guard a little bit when I tried putting the pick guard back in place. The top pickup up here isn't too bad, but this one, like, the tape was pretty well all the way to the top of the pickup cover, and yeah, it's pretty well caught that entire edge, so it was a nuisance to even get this thing up as high as it is. If you look at the pickups, it actually doesn't look that bad. I would have preferred the pickups up a little bit higher, but that's pretty well the best I can do. This pickup, especially down by the G, it's really down low, so I'm hoping that it still picks up a signal. And you can see too, that screw right there, there's a couple of things going on with it. One, it's not the same screw as these ones. The head is actually a little bit bigger. Also, to get it into the body of the bass, I had to offset the angle a little bit, and that's not helping. I tried prying the pickup up so it would hopefully go beside the head of the screw instead of kind of being forced under it, but it doesn't really want to budge. Whatever. It's not too bad. It still looks like it's gonna work, so what can I say? It's good as used. Again, it used to belong to my uncle. He's a really big influence on my brother and I when it came to music. This was probably the first bass I ever played. Those are not frets. They're strips of painter's tape, and I've got the same kind of thing on my violin right now because as much as I try, I am no good at playing instruments that don't have frets. And like, look at this. There aren't even fret markers on this neck. You literally had to learn everything by feel, and that takes an incredible amount of talent. And my uncle is definitely oozing with talent. Like, even at his age, he's still playing gigs and still doing shows. And I have seen him play in person. He is an absolutely phenomenal musician. I just haven't worked up the nerve to get rid of this bass because this thing means a lot to me in one form or another, even though I never play it. Oh, there was something that I found that I forgot to talk about. We're not reading that wrong. This was when Insane Clown Posse tried to form their own wrestling league, and they came up with this. It's pretty entertaining for the most part, but I used to have the second volume as well. I don't remember what happened to it. I haven't had the second volume for a long time, which is unfortunate, because I think for the most part I remember liking the second one better. Leave it to the Insane Clown Posse to do something as ridiculous as this. Well, I was just about to leave when, look what I found. Oh my god, I don't know what the hell's on that cover. Was I practicing my spitting range or something? What the hell? The owner's manual for the same audio interface that I'm using today. All of that is in the wrong language. I know there's English in here somewhere. Oh, right at the front. It might come in handy. I've never been able to get MIDI to work properly through this thing, so... But granted, I never really read this thing, so it might not be a bad idea. For now, you can join the pot. That'll do. I'll remember it's there later. And clang! Clang! Try to send some stuff away to a new home. The old CRT is going. That stand actually bought with my first TV when cash converters still existed in Canada. I don't think there are any cash converters left in the whole country. This is what the old locker is down to now. I'm just gonna move these out of the way for now and probably finish the job tomorrow and then pitch this garbage in the garbage. How's this for a relic of a different time? Commodore, the old computer company, apparently also made filing cabinets. I feel like I have to do some research into this thing now. There might be some avid collector out there who's just like, yes, I need everything Commodore, give me this. Lock's busted. Now opening file cabinets. This better work. I interrupted listening to Sleep Token just to do this. Maybe I should have put these in the other way around. I don't think this other unit was an IKEA special, but it's kind of flexing like it is. Barely squeezes in there. Hopefully that door reinforces it a little. Hopefully tomorrow I'll move these out of here. This might find a place at my home. No idea what's happening with this. Probably send it to Value Village. This is the mess I've made for myself. Take off, eh? Like, no, this is your stuff. Go mind your own business, eh? Oh crap, I wanted to take some measurements of this first anyway. You missed your cue.